name's Lauren Laverty, and I love painting on books. I love painting on book covers. That's what I've been doing now for at least 2 years. Here's a sample. This is the back of a book, probably a pretty standard sized book. Can't really tell you right off the top of my head what the book was, who the book was about. But this is how I work. I prep this book cover and then attach it to a piece of sheetrock as a support that I can work with. The problem, of course, is that you have pretty much standard size books, mostly. Not a lot of variation there. So what do you do if you'd like to work, maybe a little bit larger, a little bit bigger? How do you handle that? Well, one solution is to puzzle piece together 4 different books of the same size, scale. They're pretty standard sometimes. And this works really well, especially if you pay attention to gray tone. Not the hue, but the gray tone works pretty well. Do something like this. What I prefer, though, is something like this, where you're seeing to paint on the entire book. Front, back, spine. I love books. I love handling books. I love the soft, tender feel of the cloth bindings, and I like the age and the wear that's shown on the binding itself after passing through many hands. I bought books since I was 15 years old. When I was a little bit older, I started to work in a library as a page. Lots and lots of old books there as well. And now I take great pleasure in painting on these books. So this is what we're going to show you today. How do you prep something like this, get it ready for painting? The author Susan Orlean describes the research that she did for a book called Library Book as very challenging. Library Book is about the burning of the Los Angeles County Library in 1986. Susan Orlean decided that in order to write about the burning of books, she needed to experience the burning of a book herself, and she labored a while to decide which titles she would burn, and she settled on one, and then describes the feeling of taboo that overcame her as she destroyed a book. And the reality of what I do for my art right now is I destroy books. I take them apart and save one and not the rest. According to Earth 911, the website, books can be recycled so long as you remove the cover, which is exactly what I do in order to paint them. All right, let's get started. If you're feeling uncomfortable and with that taboo thing about destroying books, you might want to look away for just a minute. That's the part we need to get to right now. So the task is to cut away the text pages from the cover itself. And to do that, I'm going to cut right through this paper hinge right here. The trick is to not cut the spine. I don't want any slices coming through the spine here. I want this book to retain all of the nice age and wear marks that it already has without any new slice marks. So I like to use a utility knife. This is a Stanley, plenty of them out there. I've tried X-Acto knives. I've tried a variety of things, straight razor blades. These seem to work the best. So I'm just sawing through. Different books will cut differently. This one's going to go pretty easy, looks like. So there's that half. There's the back side of that spine. Now I can really clearly see what's going on there. This is the spine itself. Don't have anything to worry about there. And I'm just going to saw through. Take care. I don't want to cut this edge here. That portion right there, I don't want to nick that because that'll show up as well. And I just cut as much as I have to. And that's it. So these are the 2 parts. It's now separated. This is actually an old dictionary. It's got some very nice illustrations in it, some color plates. I'll set this aside and use it In many instances, I find books that I absolutely adore the cover, have never heard of the author, have never heard of the title, and I have a big blue recycle bin, and that's where they go. So this is what I'm left to work with. It's rather insecure, rather floppy, really not in any kind of good condition for painting on at this stage. This is what I'm looking for: hard, firm, secure type of a panel. So this is what we got to do to get it to that stage over there. The first thing I need to do is make some small cuts. So I'm going to cut this back right here, just cutting through one layer only, right there. And then I want to cut through here as well. Just make a little slice, open that up. I don't want to cut all the way through. I want a little flap there. Same thing here. Again, just a slight cut. It's a little flap right there. And then the same thing on this fourth edge here. Retain that fabric as best I can. It's an old book. It's started to wear, certainly right there. You can see it, but I still want to retain however much I can. My next task is to clear away whatever's left in here that's loose. If I can get back down to the original fabric underneath, that's great. That's what my goal is. I need to find a nice, clean surface to glue on. So pretty much that's coming loose. A little bit of scrap there to pull away. That's going to be fine. Next task is a little bit more challenging. I want to cut back this paper cover, not the chipboard, but the paper cover all the way to its edge. And you can kind of see it right there. There's a little fold right there. I can find the edge. I need to expose that edge. So I'm going to cut back with a straight edge, maybe just a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch behind that line there. You can use any straight edge you like. I like this one pretty well because it's heavy. It's got a nice weight to it. Little mini carpenter's square, I guess you might say. And you can kind of tell right away, are you cutting on that chipboard? You don't want to be cutting in here. You don't want to pierce, again, you don't want to pierce through, but you want to expose that edge. So you're just drawing the knife through, kind of score it, cut it, and then as best you can, remove it. And again, the goal is to find that chipboard edge so you can see where that exactly starts. Just kind of get in there and tear that away. You can kind of see that edge showing up right there. This looks like it needs a little bit more cut. That's a pretty secure binding there as far as that goes. And there you go. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Just that much of that edge needs to show. Cut that a little bit more right there. Get that exposed. Go. And then the same thing over here. I kind of know where that fold is. I can kind of see that edge being right there. I'm going to move my square back a little bit. Just a bit. Not cutting through the chipboard, only cutting the paper. And the whole goal is to see that hard, distinct edge. Take that away, peel that away. There's my edge right there. I want to get that out of there so I can have a better view. Trim that back a little bit, expose that. This needs to, well, I think that'll be okay right there, maybe. Let's see. And that'll do it. That's what we're looking for right there. That's a very good start. You can see I've got a nice, even, clear view of where that chipboard panel starts on each. The next task then is to fill this section. So my goal is to fill this in a really, really rigid fashion, nice and snug, pretty much make a full panel come across there. I cut this one first. It's a book that I didn't think I was going to need or want, and I needed that same thickness. They all seem to be, every book seems to be pretty universal that way, and it fits, but it's just sloppy. I'm a former cabinet maker, furniture maker, and well, that just won't do. So we're going to set that aside. I measured it, found another book, and this is the fit I'm looking for. It should just kind of pop right into place, and it does. I've got a few raw feathered edges there. I'm going to knock those down a little bit. Unfortunately or fortunately, a big one for neat and tidy in my work. Got that craftsmanship thing going on, at least some of the time, not all of the time. Knock that down a bit, like that. Make sure that's nice and clear. This is barely hanging on, but I'm still going to hang on to it. I'm still going to keep it. It's going to come in handy. This one's a little bit better shape down here. I want to make sure this little tab will open up for me there. Oh, you almost came off, pretty much. That's okay. We're not going to worry about that. So then, once again, check the fit. And I kind of like to leave the cloth face out. I don't know. It's just me. It's, you know, it's as though you're preserving some reference to that original book. And this portion here, I'm going to secure the whole thing with glue. So this section here is going to take the glue a whole lot better than anything else. So I'm going to go and double check that fit. This cut across is pretty important too. Can I get that under there? Yeah. So what I'm looking for now is, let's see that. Come here, you. This length here. I don't want to extend out there, and I don't want to extend out here. This looks pretty good. I should be able to wrap original cloth back around here and make a nice detail for this end. Same thing over here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. This fit looks really good. I'm going to go get my my glue supplies, a wet rag, and you're ready to go. This next step is pretty simple. All we're really doing is gluing this panel into this section of the spine to create a rigid support all the way across. I've got a little bit of wet rag there handy, ready to go for me. And I really, really, really love Lineco products. This is Lineco Neutral pH adhesive. It's archival. Archival, totally not necessary here, but regardless, I find this product really, really easy to work with as compared with other glues. It's just got a lot to recommend it, even if you're not entirely concerned about an archival effect. So I use plenty. I want to make sure this gets a good seal, but I also want to be conscious of what maybe bleeds through the backside of that very light weave fabric. So I'm going to make sure it gets a lot there and there. I want these edges well coated. I'm going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Just really make a point of getting enough. These are going to get involved as well, so they're going to get a little bit of glue already on them. Possibly I'll put some glue on the panel as well. A little bit on that edge there. It's important. I want to get some through there too. And then again on this side edge, make sure that that gets enough. That's going to form part of the rigidity, of course. And then I'm just going to fit it right in there. Make sure to keep that fabric clear and away so that I can use it. Get it tucked right in there. I should see some squeeze out, and that's fine. Make sure that's punched down nice and firm. And this is the detail that I think makes a great deal of difference in the finish. And it's why I like this product. It'll let me work it and pretty well stick in place wherever I want to lay it down. I don't have to sweat too much, worry too much about where it's falling. It's going to stay there pretty well for me. This needs a little bit more glue through there. Because this one's so loose, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to make a detail there. So we're just going to kind of fold it over, bend it in there a little bit, see what we can do with that. We're never going to make it look like it didn't tear, it didn't rip because of its age. But we want this edge to look nice in the finished product. A little more glue there. And then naturally, we want some weight on it. And what better weight would there be but books? We'll give that maybe 20 minutes, it'll be ready to go. It's been about 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour. Now I'm going to pull these books away, see how we did. Pretty much the glue disappears. That Lineco is a great product. And there we go. Stiff, solid, ready to adhere. Get some find some double stick tape. I don't use much. Mostly it's a small amount, little corners, and just 4. I want it to stay put while I work the board, but I want it to come off relatively easy so that I can effect a more permanent mounting for the product. Just 1 in each corner. Those will let go pretty quick and easy. I'll strip those off, flip it over. And we're set. I'll go ahead and finish this then with very likely a combination of Winsor Newton clear gesso and a matte medium product. I may layer that. Lately I've been experimenting with clear gesso mixed with matte medium and a couple of coats of that with maybe some sanding in between. And yeah, pretty much done. let's take a look at some finished products. Here's a sample of what I was able to do with the types of panels that I showed you how to make today. This is from the Men Trying On Hats series. This canvas is composed of 2 panels, 2 books, 2 book cover units. There's the spine for one, there's the spine for the second one. They're adhered to sheetrock. They're coated usually with Winsor Newton clear gesso, and then I paint on them. Once the painting's done, I'll remove this from the sheetrock, mount it to a hardboard, frame it, and that's it. Hope you had fun today. Hope you learned something. Check the comments for the links. Leave me a comment, subscribe, and have a great day.